In this video, I'm going to give you a tutorial of how to make these beautiful bookmarks. You can make them with or without the fringe, and there's lots of texture for visual interest. Let's get started. So to make this pattern, you're going to need a 4mm hook, a light worsted weight yarn, so a thin category 4 yarn. Generally, most cottons will fall into this. I do prefer cotton for something like this just because of the wear and tear a bookmark is going to get going in and out of books. It doesn't pill up quite as easily as acrylic or blended yarns do. But you can use any yarn. You can go down to category 2 or 3. I would not use bulky. If you do use bulky, you're going to have a big bookmark and you're going to need a bigger wood ring. Now this wood ring is 1 inch and 1/4 wide, and the pattern is designed to work with this size of a ring. Now something else you're going to find helpful is my favorite little finishing tool, the 2mm hook for the stitch we're going to be using, and as I get working you'll see why I do recommend grabbing that if you have one on hand. If not, we'll figure out how to make it work for you. And the wood beads are optional. These are from Dollar Tree, and I'm using the bigger of the 2 sizes that are in here. It might be 3, but you need something big enough so that the yarn will fit through. But again, it's optional. You do not have to put fringe on your hook or on your, I'm sorry, your bookmark, on your mark. You can just make it longer as long as you like. So the first step, of course, is to work the yarn around the ring. So you can do a slip knot or not. I use these so much, just personal preference how to do it. I am not going to use a slip knot. I just don't like that bumpy look that the slip knot has, even though you can certainly hide it. I just won't. I'll just hook it on like such and keep working around, and I'll work the tail in as I go, or work it under, I'm sorry, not into, there, put it under. And just smoothly and evenly work your stitches to completely and densely cover the ring. Just like this. All right, so I've completely covered my ring. And I'm going to go into the starting stitch and begin working single crochets, 9 of them. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oops. 8. It's on 8. And 9. And that's going to be the length, just these 9 stitches. All right, so I've got a 3rd row of single crochet worked, and I'm going to start the design or the texture. So I'll do a chain 1 and turn, as you have been doing. Now the first stitch, you will work a single crochet, then a half double crochet into that same stitch, then a double crochet into the row below. So let's look. Because this is slanted a little bit with the curve, don't worry about that. It's going to flare just slightly, but you'll see with the finishing, it'll all be totally flush and even. So don't let that worry you that you've done something wrong. You have not. Okay, so let's see, where's that row below? It's right here. So we want to get that dramatic look of that kind of fishtail crisscross. And we've got to go down far enough to get that to happen. Now, because 3 stitches were just worked into this essentially same stitch, even though it's a stitch below, we need to make up for that by skipping 2 stitches. Then in that 3rd stitch, we'll do it again. Go in and work a single crochet, then a half double crochet, and then your double crochet below. Go down and finish your stitch. Skip 2. Now when you look to the end, you'll do your skip 2. To make sure you're far enough over, there should be 2 stitches and then where you're going to work. So you want 2 stitches left at the end. Skip my 2 and do single crochet, half double crochet, and then the long double crochet down below. Whoops. And keep it nice and loose. You don't want this buckling. And then single crochet in the last stitch. Make sure I get both my loops on the hook. Chain 1, turn, and we do it again. So this row we're going to really look at stitch placement to make sure that everything's lining up correctly. Single crochet, half double crochet, and then the first stitch for the row below. Pull this out. Let's look. This is where a really slim hook might come in handy. You need to find the V for that row below, and it could be hard to get your regular hook in there because you want to essentially split it, work in between. You're not going under, you want to go in between. I'm going to yarn over. I might be able to push through since I was just working in there. Come up and work my double crochet. Now instead of skipping 2, you're going to work into that space of where the 2 stitches you skipped are. So if you look closely, you can see there they are. So I'm going to take my hook and go in there and work the single crochet, half double crochet. Whoops, I think I grabbed something there I wasn't supposed to grab. Okay, half double crochet. And then the placement, we're going to look, see the grouping of the single crochet and half double crochet from the row before. That's where your double crochet will go. So it's going to be back to the right just a little bit. Finish, find that chain 2, or not chain 2, the 2 stitch skip, and work the final one. Single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, look for the 2 stitches right there. That's where the hook goes. And then skip over so that you single crochet into the last. Not too tight because we do have to work into that at some point. Turn, we'll do it again. Single crochet in the first, half double crochet in the first, and let's find our stitch. It's right there. See that V? That's where we're going to go and put the double crochet. And you'll start to see that the double crochet is lining up with the next one where it goes, which it's going to be here, and you can see here. Let me work it and then I'll show you what I mean. Can't show you something that hasn't happened yet, right? Okay, there's that 2 stitches that were skipped. Single crochet, half double crochet, and then double crochet into the little grouping there. And you'll be able to see that this will line up with this. So when you're working the stitch and you ever wonder where your little V is, where you're supposed to put your hook, you can just glance over to see where that grouping is and let your eye follow that that's where the placement will be. And it can look a little, when this is worked straight across, it's a little bit easier to see because there's a slant. These first few rows with the ring, it's gonna look a little less straight across. But as we're working, let me get a finished one and show you. Okay, there are two, and then there's the placement into my little grouping. That's how you're gonna get your fishtail kind of a look. So you see here, as you're working these, the stitches are lining. Let me come up a little higher. It's hard to see with the white. You can see they're lining up. All right, and finish the row by just working a single crochet in the last stitch. Make sure I get both loops on hook. Not too tight. Chain one, turn, and I'll do it again with you. Single crochet, half double crochet. Right now let's look at how the grouping helps the placement. And I can see my V right here because it's going to line up with where that double crochet is going to go into here. So this top of the stitch will get split in half, and that's where my hook will go. Turn over, go in there, split that stitch, pull up, finish. That skip 2 space, work my next grouping, and there it goes right in there. The grouping from below. This is a nice meditative stitch. Once it's set up, it goes pretty quickly and it's easy to work. So I just want to make sure you have your stitch placement right so you're not stressing about getting it right and getting this texture that you see. Go into my little grouping there. So just keep working these back and forth until you reach the length you want. Now the length I'm showing before the fringe is about 9 inches. Total. So if you have a really big book or you have big books that you want to be able to use this for, you can go longer. But before the fringe, you see it's right at about 9 inches. And then my fringe is about 4 inches because I like to be fancy sometimes. But I love my wood beads. As if you're new to my channel, you don't know, I do a lot with wood. So I've got the wood ring, and then these are Dollar Tree wood beads that came in a big pack like this. I'm not sure what size these are. I could do a measurement for you. There's 3 sizes in this, and they're in the $1.25 section in the craft area. Let me see. Not half an inch, I'd say 3/4 of an inch. Let's look at the centimeter. Maybe that'll be better. Almost a centimeter, but enough so that I can fit a generous amount across without being too many. And of course you don't have to do that, but I like the look of it. Just personal preference. This might be a little too fussy for some of you. All right, so I'm going to keep working this, and I'll come back and I will show you how I do my fringe, and then of course we have to do our finish so that this isn't flaring out, but rather that it just sits straight. All right, so I finished my length of how long I want it, and it's the 9 inch total, so of course go longer if you would like. And I'm going to start working slip stitches up the side, nice and loose. And make sure you have enough so that your bookmark does not buckle. You want to watch your spacing. just, oops, just like so. I'm having trouble with this one. There we go. Right now, as I come up closer, this is where it starts to narrow in. So I'm going to switch to single crochet to finish these last couple of stitches of the body and work my way around the circle. So I make sure I get into every stitch, and this will fill out the bookmark to look like a perfect rectangle, or close enough. And then now as I come around back to this side, I'm gonna look carefully, make sure that I switch back to slip stitches after, not yet, I'm gonna do one more here, kind of the neck of things. And then this one needs, I think, another one to look full enough. Then I will switch back to my slip stitches down the side. Nice and easy, not too tight. Okay, so now I'm at the bottom, and I'm going to chain one and single crochet across. You can do once or twice, and then this is where I will add my fringe. If you're not adding fringe, you can stop at this point. And do your rows across, and then you're done. Just slip here into the edge, make sure that it's nice and even. And then you'll cut some lengths of yarn to put through the bottom. And I did 8-inch lengths or thereabouts. And then each one of my beads has 3 strands through it. I'll pull out my larger beads. I'm going to take my nifty 2mm hook. This is my favorite finishing tool, and this also will fit through the holes in the beads because tapestry needles typically do not fit, but the little slim hook always fits. So that's what I will use. And then when threading, make sure you get both of the loops on the hook. Right, so I've got 3 strands and my hook with the bead on it, and I'm going to pull through. I'll check my, I think this one I pulled a little too much. Pulled on a different strand. I'm gonna just double check everything before I knot it. Now, what I did when I knotted my first one, and if you're looking at the written pattern, you'll see, I say to let it drop down from the base just a little bit. So I didn't knot it all the way up, snugly up here. Just let it come down just a little bit before you do your securing knot, just to give it a little more balance and visual interest. But it's up to you if you like it where it's just flush against the base. Certainly do it that way. But if you like how mine looks, that's how I did it. That was intentional, to let it kind of drop just a bit away from the body. All right, I'm going to keep putting these beads on and knot it, and then this is done. I hope you enjoy your bookmark. Give this video a like if you enjoy it. And if you don't have the written pattern, it is linked below.